Welcome to Lewistown Junior High School. We're proud to have this opportunity to share our facilities with our incoming students and parents. If you have any questions, don't be afraid to contact us. This is a look from the entry just as soon as you walk in the office. Things are a little bit different because this is about a year old, but it's pretty darn close. I'll just give you a little bit of an idea of the general floor plan, and then we're going to go through it. First of all, this looks really goofy and really dirty and really messy, but you get the general idea of the overall structure of the building. You can see here, and we're right about here where we walk in the entry, you could see where there's like a U shape to this building. The second and third floors follow that U shape with the auditorium in the middle and the gym in the back. So everything looks like essentially that. So when we come back to the entry and we go in, this is what it looks like when we walk through the halls. Now, we would have just passed the office area. That window typically is open, and of course in this area is Mrs. Peterson, but that gives you a really good idea what's going on. Our elevators in front of us, these are doors to our auditorium as we walk in. So if we were having this assembly just before you walked into the school, you would walk into those doors or possibly in through the back door. But when we're doing this virtually, this is kind of what we have to work with. So let's step out here. We're going to go where most of the classes will be with that, and we'll head down this direction. This is towards the science area on the second floor. Okay, on the second floor of the science area. So we'll walk down here. We'll just keep going down here. By the way, this is another door to the auditorium over here. This is the adult men's bathroom. So it's not a bathroom kids typically use or should use. Okay, in this scenario, we can see into the conference room a little bit. We're getting close to the stairways where the science rooms are at. So when we get to this position, we can look down this hallway here and see the kitchen area. This is our serving area for the kitchen, and it's where you'll actually walk into to get your food during lunch. This door that's open right here is Mrs. Flinty's science room. We're not going to go there quite yet because I want to take you over to here, which should take us close to Mr. Shelagowski. And this is what his room looks like. This is our science 7th grade room. Obviously this picture was taken in the evening after our kids had met, but you can see all of the stuff that's going on in here. Tons of big stuff. We'll just kind of step in here and take a look around. Of course, Mr. Shelagowski's a little busy at this point in time. And this is his desk area. That gives you a pretty good idea where things are at in this room. And what this room looks like. It's a relatively small space for what you do in there, because you do just tons and tons of stuff. So we're back out here in the hallway. We can look down this end of the hall. And we can also go up the stairs. We'll go to the other end of the hall, see if we can't get there from the other end of the hall. Some of this is kind of goofy because it really depends on how they took the pictures and what's going on, but it is actually a really good representation of what we've got going on in the school. We'll take a peek right here into the auditorium so you can see what it looks like from this angle. And of course you see in the gym in the background. We use this a lot for assemblies. We use it a lot for our Veterans Day program. We have a huge Veterans Day program. It's a really big deal at the junior high, and I'm sure it will be next year as well. Okay, coming down this hall, we get to another door for the auditorium, but this is the door into the art room. And this is Mrs. Wurzberger's class. Most of our 7th grade students take a class from Mrs. Wurzberger. So this is what that looks like in there. Again, this is after hours, so the desks and chairs are set up like that, but you get a general idea what this room looks like and what it's all about by looking at it here. And as I said, most 7th graders take Art 1. And we're back in here. This is the female adult rest area. As we get down here, I'm going to show you, this is our school store. That is open at lunch times a lot of the year. There are times when it isn't. Of course, there might be times where people lose the privilege. And then this takes us down to the fax room right here. And almost all of our 7th graders takes fax. And this is what that room looked like a year ago. Pretty busy. There's a lot of stuff goes on in here. And then, of course, you can actually get to the back of the room where you can look into the kitchen, I think. No, not going to let me do that. So we'll go back out the other way and look at it from the other side. This is Mrs. Krogstad's room, our fax teacher. And as I said before, almost all of our 7th grade students take a class from her. This is the health room. This looks a little different now. We've got tables in there. This is Mr. Armstrong's room, as well as Mr. Johnson's room, and anybody actually that teaches health enhancement classes. Nothing special. We'll just peek in here real quick, and then we'll peek out of here real quick. And we'll take you down to the kitchen area that we couldn't get to before. So this is getting us into the fax kitchen area. You can kind of see what's going on there. We won't go all the way in there, but I think you get the general idea that there's another whole room behind Mrs. Krogstad's. And then, of course, we're back in the hallway. And that U that we were talking about going the auditorium, around the auditorium and gym is like this. And this is going into the auditorium and gymnasium area. If this was lunch, you would see tables out in this area because this is also our lunch area. And of course, this is what the auditorium looks like from this angle. And while we're here, we'll take you into one of the locker rooms because I believe we can get there this way. Yeah, here we go. Okay, this is also true on the other side of the gymnasium for the boys. This is the girls' locker room that we're going into. And of course, it takes a little bit of an effort to get down here. I think you see the general idea. This is what the girls' locker area looks like. And of course, the outside exit for that is clear over here. And then up those stairs and out. We might be able to get underneath the gym here. Oh yeah, we can go here. This is a storeroom area, but actually under the gym between the two locker rooms. And if we go over here, this will take us into the boys' locker room side. And of course you see it looks comparable just on the other side. And we'll just venture through here. Again, this is evening time, and this is how you get through the locker room areas. It looks pretty much like what you're seeing right now. Oh, hold it. Maybe I can go this way. There we go. So now when we get here, you'll see that the view is just from the other perspective of the gym and the auditorium. Okay, so we're going to have here, this is Mr. Armstrong and Mr. Johnson's gym office. And of course, this is, hold it. This is the hallway that you'll bring your food with as you go into this lower area. This room right here is our star room. It's actually a behavior room for our elementary, but our star kids are an important part of the junior high, and we love having them here and we love helping them out. And then of course we can go over to this area where we can see into Mrs. Flinty's science room. She's our 8th grade science teacher. Here down the hall a little bit so we can see what's going on with our serving area, and we'll take a peek in here. This is where you can pick up your lunch and go out and check out here and out this back door, go around through the gym, into the gym, through the hallway down here. So this is pretty much all the way around the building. So now we're gonna sneak back down here. We're gonna see if we can go up the stairs on this end. Yeah, it takes a while. There goes the art room. This is actually a social studies room for the 8th graders that we're going into right here. And then, yep, I think it's going to let us go up the stairs. Okay, so now we're going up a level. This, of course, this is what it looks like outside in the snow time. Okay, we did that wrong. So we'll go downstairs. This will show you the music room and possibly where we might be able to have some shop space. This is the music room right here. This is where our band and choir classes are at. Mr. Auger and our band instructor, I think you'll like him. He's a new guy coming in this year, and Mrs. Ortman teaching in this room. So we're just going to go through the room, come out back in the hallway where we can look at stuff. This is some underground space in the first floor, and then this classroom space right here we're looking at reconstructing into a shop space area, but I'll just show you that and then we'll head back out through the other side of things. And we'll see if we can go upstairs again. And of course, this is the downstairs back door that's locked during the day but usually open in the mornings. Okay, fax room over here, health enhancement room there, 8th grade social studies room there. Oh man, that just is not going to work. We're going to try this again. Sometimes technology is a great thing, sometimes it's not. Let's open that door, let's go up the stairs. And there we go. There we go. Just got to have the right ticket. This is our study area here. And this looks entirely different because it just got painted over our school closure time. But this is our general study hall. You get a general idea how it was set up. It's a little different now. So we'll go back to the top of the stairs. Hopefully I don't go down those stairs. This is 8th grade English. That's one of my favorite rooms in the whole building. Lots of light. It's really a nice space. We'll go down this hall here, and remember this is part of a horseshoe kind of thing around the auditorium and the gym. This area right here is our girls' restroom. Right here. This is our 8th grade resource room. Even though it says social studies, it's actually a resource room. And this is 7th grade English with Mrs. Wichman. And so we will go into her classroom. It looks a little bit different now. Well, it's kind of the same, but it looks a little bit different now. It's been restructured a little bit. This cart's gone and it's rearranged a little bit. You don't see any beanbag chairs, but they're there. So this is where most 7th graders will take English. And we'll go back out in the hall and I'll show you where the other English classroom is for 7th graders with the 7th grade resource. So we're back into this hall. This is the top of the stairs. Let me show you where Mrs. Spraggins' math room is at. It's just down this hallway. Oh, I see it's dark down there. It'll probably lighten up here in a second. So this is an 8th grade math room. With Mrs. Spraggins. Back into the hallway. Okay, this is an area right above the auditorium, so we'll just peek in there and I'll see how close we can get to looking over it. So you can actually see a lot of what's going on. This is a balcony area right in here. Sometimes we use this during Veterans Day because we have that many people showing up for stuff. Right across the hall from that is Mrs. Majerus' office, where it says counselor. Here's one of our announcement boards. Just to tell you, we have one directly below it on the 2nd floor as well, but we have all of our lunches, all of our week's activities, all of that stuff on our display board, just like pretty much like you had at Lewis and Clark. Okay, this is a library computer classroom here. It's also where some of our after-school learning center stuff takes place. This is a library door here. Those two rooms are now a little bit more together than they were when this video was taken, but this is a pretty good representation of what some of the library looked like a year ago. It looks entirely different now. It's been painted. We've got new tables. We've got new chairs. It's reorganized. Mrs. Poser Brown has done a great job of getting this all set up, and of course Mrs. Birdwell, her assistant, is the person responsible for getting a big chunk of that work done. Again, we're in the hallway. This is one stairway that goes down to the floor by the science corners, science classrooms, and this is where we were at for study hall, and then this is the computer lab. On this side we have the auditorium. Mrs. Majerus is here, so on and so forth. So we get down to this corner. These classes are all pretty much the 7th grade classroom area. This is the boys' restroom. It's on the 2nd floor. You can kind of see what that's all about. Well, not really, but you can get the general idea. This is Mr. Valancourt's room, and this is where you will have social studies. And so this is what his room looks like. He is pretty much a geography teacher in 7th grade social studies, does a ton of work with CNN 10. So if you're not familiar with CNN 10, you will get familiar. This is our study skills room. This is our resource room for 7th grade. We mentioned earlier that 7th grade English, some English classes are taught in here. This is Mrs. Elliott's room. This is Mr. Donaldson's room. He's our 7th grade math teacher. He teaches all of the 7th grade math with exceptions of some of Mrs. Elliott's math classes, which are taught in this room over here. Let's see if we can peek around the corner here and get into Mrs. Elliott's room from this side. Oh yeah, here we go. I can see it happening. So this is Mrs. Elliott's space. It looks entirely different this year. Because it's just been freshly repainted. Mrs. Blazevich and Mrs. Birdwell did a great job of retooling this whole room and this whole space, and so it looks a little different when you go to it next fall, but I think you get the general idea. So when we come out here in the hallway, we get to Mr. Valancourt's, Mr. Donaldson's over here, and Mrs. Elliott's. And so that's pretty much the tour of the upstairs. I'll take you down these stairs if I can. And we will be back on the lower floor where we started. these stairs. It just does not like these stairs at all. So we're done. This is the end of the tour. I'm going to show you again this part of the building from an overlook. Okay, so you can see quite a bit from the top. Let's see if I can twist this in a way that makes sense. Okay, so this is the hallway that goes to Mr. Valancourt's room, Mr. Donaldson's room. This is our boys' restroom and Mrs. Elliott's room right here. Look at that, the gym, the auditorium on the inside of that, all of that stuff. And then we're talking about the library space directly below us. So that's kind of where all of that's at. And again, this is the second or the third floor, and how you can see that horseshoe effect. We'll go back into it here, and you can see the upper floor again, and I believe we are done. Thank you for this virtual look at Lewistown Junior High School. We're excited to have you coming here in the fall. Don't be afraid to call and ask questions if you have concerns about your courses that you're registering for, or even schedules just before you start school.